Once upon a time, in the small village of Nkume, there lived a young and beautiful girl named Uloma. She was known throughout the whole village for her kindness and gentle heart. Every day, Uloma's laughter could be heard as she lived happily with her loving mother, Ngozi. Uloma was independent and she dreamed of finding love naturally, not through arrangements. But life in the village was not always easy and traditions were very important. One day, a respected man in the village, Chief Obi, noticed Uloma. He was impressed by her beauty and her good character. He thought to himself, "This girl would make the perfect wife for my son, Emeka." Emeka lived far away in the United States of America. He had left Nigeria when he was only 13 years old to pursue education and opportunities abroad, and hadn't returned home since then. Chief Obi was eager to see his son married and believed Uloma would be a great match. When Chief Obi approached Uloma and her mother, Ngozi, with the marriage proposal, Uloma was surprised. She was not ready for marriage, especially to a man she had never met. Politely, Uloma declined the offer. "I want to marry for love," she said. "I don't even know Emeka." But her mother, Ngozi, was not pleased with her refusal. She had her own dreams for her daughter. Ngozi wanted Uloma to marry soon because she was not getting any younger. More than anything, Ngozi longed to see her grandchildren. Ngozi looked at her daughter sternly and said, "If you refuse this marriage, I will disown you. You must respect our traditions and marry quickly, so you can start giving me grandchildren." Uloma felt torn. She loved her mother and wanted to make her happy, but she also wanted to live her own life. In the end, out of respect for her mother, she reluctantly agreed to the marriage. However, there was an odd twist to the marriage proposal. Emeka, her groom, would not be attending the wedding. Chief Obi explained that Emeka was too busy with his life in America to come back for the ceremony. Instead, Uloma would marry a photograph, and the only photograph Chief Obi could provide was a 13-year-old Emeka, the last image his father had of him before he left Nigeria. Uloma was confused and a little scared. She had heard of arranged marriage, but she had never heard of marrying someone based on an old photograph. She didn't even know what Emeka looked like now as an adult. Still, Uloma trusted her mother. She decided to go through with the marriage, hoping that things would work out at the end. As the wedding day drew nearer, the village was filled with excitement. Everyone was curious about this strange marriage. On the day of the wedding, Uloma wore a beautiful bridal outfit. She looked stunning, but inside she felt uncertain. In her hand, she held the photograph of 13-year-old Emeka. The ceremony began with joyful music, drumming, and dancing. The whole village gathered to celebrate. But as Uloma stood there, holding the picture of her groom, she felt an emptiness inside. She was marrying someone she had never met, based only on a photograph of a boy he used to be. As the priest recites the wedding vows, Uloma's mind wondered. What was Emeka like now? Did he even know about this wedding? All these questions swirled in her mind, but she forced herself to focus on the moment. She had agreed to this union, and now there was no turning back. After the usual ceremony, Uloma left her mother and moved into the home of her father-in-law, Chief Obi. She spent her days performing the duties expected of a wife, cleaning, cooking, and managing the household. Each day, she waited eagerly for the moment when Emeka would finally return to Nigeria. The only way they communicated was through an old button phone. They would send each other messages filled with love and hope for the future. Then, 7 months after their strange wedding, one evening, her phone rang. It was Emeka, his voice filled with excitement. He told her that he was finally coming home and asked her to meet him at the airport. Uloma could hardly contain her joy. This was the moment she had been waiting for. Overjoyed, Uloma prepared to travel to the airport to welcome her husband home. She put on her best clothes, hoping to make a good first impression. However, fate had other plans. On her way to the airport, Uloma was attacked by robbers. They stole all her belongings, leaving her stranded by the roadside. Lost and alone in the city, she didn't know where to turn to. Just when she thought all hope was lost, 2 young men drove by and noticed her distress. They stopped and offered to help her. Uloma gratefully accepted their kindness, not knowing that one of the men was actually Emeka, her husband. His friend went to pick him up at the airport. Emeka, who had never seen Uloma before, didn't realize that the woman his friend was helping was his own wife. Similarly, Uloma had no idea that the strangers offering her a ride, one of them was her husband. It was a strange twist of fate that neither of them could have predicted. After dropping Emeka at his hotel, Mike, Emeka's friend, offered to take Uloma to his house so she could have a place to sleep for the night. As they arrived at his home, Uloma opened up about her situation. She told Mike how she came to the city to meet her husband, Emeka, whom she had married through an arrangement set up by his father. As Mike listened, the piece of the puzzle began to fall into place. Emeka had once shared the story of his father arranging a marriage for him back in Nigeria, and now Uloma's story matched perfectly. Mike realized that Uloma was indeed Emeka's wife. Excited about reuniting the couple, Mike told Uloma, "I know your husband. Tomorrow, I will take you to him." Relieved, Uloma thanked Mike and then they both rested for the night. The next morning, Mike drove Uloma to Emeka's hotel. He eagerly introduced her to Emeka, explaining that this was the wife his father had chosen for him. However, Emeka didn't react as expected. Instead of joy, his face darkened with anger. "This woman can't be my wife," Emeka shouted. Confused, Mike asked, "What are you talking about? This is Uloma, the woman you have been talking to and waiting for all these months." He pointed angrily at Uloma and said, "I saw her on the roadside last night. She must be a prostitute. And you, Mike, you must have taken her home to sleep with her. I know you. You are always chasing after women." Mike was shocked by Emeka's accusation. He tried to explain that he was no longer the man he used to be. "I have changed, Emeka. I'm in a serious relationship now, and my fiancé was with me last night when Uloma stayed over. Nothing happened, I swear." But Emeka refused to believe him. Blinded by anger and jealousy, he pushed Uloma away and stormed out of the hotel, heading back to his village. When he arrived at his father's house, Emeka confronted him angrily. "Why did you marry me off to a prostitute?" he demanded. "I can't believe you would do that to me." "What are you talking about, Emeka? Uloma is a good girl from a well-respected family. She has good manners and a kind heart. There must be some misunderstanding. I want to hear a side of the story before I judge." Meanwhile, back in the city, Uloma was devastated. She didn't know how to get back to the village and she felt completely lost. But Mike determined to set things right, decided to take matters into his own hands. He told Uloma that he would take her back to the village and clear up the misunderstanding with Emeka. To prove his innocence, he also brought his fiancée along, who had been with him the night Uloma stayed at his house. Together, the three of them made the journey to Emeka's village. When they arrived, Emeka was still furious. The moment he saw Mike, he lost control and started punching him, shouting, "Why would you bring this prostitute here? Why are you still trying to deceive me?" Chief Obi quickly stepped in to stop the fight, urging his son to calm down. "Let's hear them out first," he said. Once Emeka was calm, Mike introduced his fiancée, who confirmed that she had been with Mike the entire night and that nothing inappropriate happened between Mike and Uloma. Mike then explained the full story of how he had found Uloma stranded and had simply helped her out of kindness. Slowly, the truth began to sink in. Emeka realized that he had been too quick to judge, letting his emotions cloud his judgment. He had wronged his wife by accusing her unfairly. Feeling ashamed, he knelt down in front of Uloma and begged for her forgiveness. "Uloma, I was wrong. I let my anger and jealousy get the best of me, and I hurt you. Please forgive me. I promise I would always trust you from now on and listen to your side of the story." Tears welled up in Uloma's eyes as she looked at Emeka. She could see the sincerity in his apology. With a gentle smile, she said, "I have forgiven you, Emeka, but from now on, we must always trust each other and never jump into conclusion without talking things through." And with that, the couple embraced each other, finally united in both heart and mind. This marked the beginning of their true journey together, one built on trust, understanding, and the love that had been growing between them all along. If you were in Uloma's shoes, would you have married a picture of a 13-year-old boy? And if you were Uloma, would you have forgiven Emeka after calling you a prostitute? I would like to know your opinion in the comment section. Thank you very much for watching today's story. Kindly subscribe to this channel to support this channel. Like this video and please share with your friends. I'm going to see you in my next video. Thanks and bye for now.